Thousands in Nepal prepare to spend a third night outdoors. More than 57 aftershocks recorded so far. The death toll nears the 4,000 mark. Over 7,000 people have been injured.
As you can see behind me, those who died in this earthquake, they are all being laid to rest.
Kathmandu's landmark, the Pashupatinath temple, turns into a mass cremation ground. CNN IBN's Karma Paljor is reporting from there.
As you can see, the pictures in a sense speaking for themselves. Almost a rude pause. These buildings have come down like a pack of cards.
20 kilometers away from Kathmandu, the World Heritage Site of Bhaktapur now lies in ruins. Anubhav Bhosle is reporting from one of the worst hit regions.
It's been nearly few hours since Nepal was hit by one of a bad earthquakes, and we have reached the Karra village of Nepal. It is very near the epicenter.
CNN IBN's Prabhakar Kumar was the first Indian journalist to enter the quake zone. He and our team of reporters in Nepal are bringing you the complete story of the Himalayan nation's struggle to cope. The turf war in Indian cricket. BCCI Secretary Anurag Thakur heads back at N. Srinivasan, accuses him of using the ICC to complain against him. And it's a massive setback for terror group ISIS. Its leader Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi dies after sustaining severe injuries in airstrikes. The death toll in the Nepal earthquake is inching towards the 4,000 mark. Thousands are getting ready as we speak to spend a third night under the open sky. I'm going straight across to my colleague Karma Paljor, who is joining us with a one-hour special from Kathmandu.
A Himalayan tragedy unfolding right before our eyes. That's what's happening at Kathmandu. The death toll nearing 4,000 now, several thousands injured. And people are out in camps like this. And it's the resilience of the Himalayan people. Despite the challenges, despite them getting no relief, some groups here singing songs, some getting together for getting a community kitchen going. They're all shouting for those who've not eaten to. That is what is happening in Kathmandu. The rescue efforts mainly focus around the city and some parts, but many of the villages still remain untouched. They need rescue, relief as soon as possible. And taking us through this special show, Prabhakar Kumar was the first journalist to reach Nepal, so to say. He was here 2 hours after the earthquake struck and reporting right through. Also, Anubhav, she's been keeping a very close watch as far as evacuation efforts are concerned. We've been traveling through the city to get to stories unfolding here. First, to the iconic Pashupatinath temple. That temple, of course, was untouched by this earthquake. But there right now, thousands, hundreds who've died are being cremated.
We are at the Ghat, and about 21 kilometers from Bhaktapur, about just under a kilometer from where we are standing here, lies Thamel. It is one of the iconic places for all the tourists to go to. There we went to a hotel, we stood a hotel, a budget hotel. 10 people are still believed to be under the rubble. Now the narrow streets making it very difficult for large machinery to go in and evacuate. We are at the site of another tragedy. This used to be the budget hotel. Now the rescue teams are still trying to dig. They brought in a crane, but the crane could not do much. It's said that there are around more than 10 people still buried under this rubble. And the additional problem is that there's a water source right down there, if you can see. There's a water source, so probably some people are there washing clothes, is what the locals here are saying. So if there were people washing clothes down there, that would mean that more people perhaps would be stuck. So 10 or more people still under this rubble. As far as rescuers are concerned, they've not been able to get through much. They were able to rescue 3 to 4 people. We are told some Indian nationals are also here, but terrible because, they're not getting the kind of equipment they need to dig through this rubble at this point. In Tamil, with camera person Raju Khatri, Karma Paljor. And I spoke to a police officer at the site who said that rains that lashed Kathmandu yesterday made rescue and relief very, very difficult. Let's talk about hospitals now. We are at a relief camp. Most people are outside. They do not want to go in because of the fear of many aftershocks and also many rumors which are going around saying that a major one is going to hit soon, in an hour, in a minute or so. Now, Prabhakar visited the hospital. In hospitals too, people are not ready to go inside and sleep in, isn't it?
Precisely, there are two reasons for it actually. The first is the number of patients, the number of injured patients actually who are admitted into the hospital, the number of patients who are getting treatment over there. Hospitals in Kathmandu, remember, are not equipped to handle this kind of inflow of patients. And the most important reason is the reason why people are actually living in these camps. For the same reason, the patients and the relatives, they don't want their patients to remain inside the building, because remember, hospital at the end of it is a concrete structure. So the patients, the relatives, they want their patients to be safe. So many of across the city actually, not only in the government hospitals but also in the private hospitals, they have made makeshift tents where the patients, even the ICU patients for that matter, they are being treated. And we visited one of those centers where the patients, the ICU patients, they were being treated under a tent. 3,300 deaths already reported and more than 5,000 persons injured in this tragic earthquake that hit Nepal. I am on the streets of Kathmandu, and to give you an idea as to what the state of affairs is here in Kathmandu, how hard-pressed the government is in reaching out to people and what people are facing on day-to-day basis. I am on a national highway, on a main highway of Kathmandu, and if I could show you the roadside hospital over here, you can see this tent, and this is a hospital which is running on the open street, and doctors, nurses, they're all here. They're trying to give the best possible medical aid to those who have been injured.
That disaster, it was, earthquake was very terrible, and we have to treat our patient anyway. This was the only option we had at that time. It was decided within a fraction of a second, and we managed to treat all our patients without any casualty.
So this particular tent has been converted into a medical hospital, a medical center, and even the operation is not done here, but otherwise all treatment is being given in this on this roadside hospital. So government is really hard pressed. The number of people who are injured, there's no place in the hospital actually to keep them. So government has no option actually but to treat patients here in this makeshift tent, in this makeshift accommodation, which has now been converted into a makeshift hospital. From Kathmandu, Prabhakar.
And sadly, that death toll is going up even as we speak. It stands at 3,900, now over 7,000 injured. Let's talk to Prabhakar now. Remember, he was one of the first journalists. In fact, he was the first journalist to enter Nepal. When he crossed over the border, the customs officials and the policemen at the border were so surprised that an Indian channel had reached Nepal so early. Prabhakar, nobody knew, isn't it? What were the challenges that you had, logistical challenges that you had as you entered Nepal for the first time?
See, this earthquake happened at around 11:30 or so, and incidentally I was just 50 kilometers away from the international border. I was shooting for a story for a hailstorm actually which had hit that particular area. The moment we got to know about it, I did not knew that I would be actually heading for a story which would be so huge, and it would be 4,000 people would be getting killed. All we knew was that earthquake had hit Nepal and I was near the border, so I wanted to enter as soon as possible, and within 2 hours I was standing on a Nepali soil talking to the Nepali officials. They were actually surprised to see an Indian channel going for this coverage, because they themselves actually did not have the idea about the magnitude of the earthquake which has actually hit Kathmandu. All they knew was that earthquake has happened and there has been some damage. They had no idea. The moment I started making way into Nepal, it was actually terrifying. The entire Nepal was completely dark. The power had gone. There was no There was no telecommunications thing. The mobiles were not working. And the first place we actually entered was Pokhara, because we knew that epicenter was somewhere near Pokhara, so that was logical for us actually to head towards the epicenter, because we presumed that the maximum damage would be there. We went there, we went to a village where dead bodies were lying, and we were the first actually outsider who had entered that village. There were no other people, only the villagers were there, not even the government officials. So we actually not only covered that, but we also helped them in clearing the houses, because many of the houses had crumbled down. Then after meeting the villagers, after getting their tales on the camera, we then realized that actual damage has happened not near the epicenter, but in Kathmandu, in the capital Kathmandu. So we immediately started for capital Kathmandu. I remember we had the fear of landslide on way, because we never knew how the roads would be. We were driving in the pitch darkness, and there was no electricity, as I told you. There was no power. Power was restored only 24 hours after this happened. Only after 15 to 12 to 20 hours, the power was restored. Around 2:30, we entered Kathmandu city. And then, to get an idea of the magnitude of the thing, the first logical place to visit was the hospital, the government hospital, because there you would actually come to know about the number of people who had died,
Right.
and a number of injured over there.
Right.
When we entered there, we saw more than 150 dead bodies lying in front of us.
Certainly. And very quickly, would you say it was one of the most challenging assignments that you had till now?
It is one of those most challenging. I would not say the most challenging assignment, but it is indeed one of the most challenging assignment, most sad assignment, I would say, rather, to cover for a journalist.
Right, Prabhakar, his team, and we continue to bring latest updates here from Kathmandu, and also try to reach out to the other nearby villages around the areas of the epicenter. We go into a short break, be back with much more here on our special show live from Kathmandu.
This is the third day since massive earthquake hit Kathmandu, and we are at the departure terminal of Tribhuvan International Airport here in Kathmandu, and you can see a long queue of Indians here.
Some of the houses have been damaged. Most of the people who are living in makeshift camps come from the neighborhood.
Nepal's killer quake puts the focus back on disaster management. Is India equipped to deal with a Himalayan earthquake? That's the talking point tonight on India at 9.
Let's shift our focus to Mount Everest. 22 bodies have been taken out after avalanches hit the area following the earthquake. Many are still injured. Mountaineer Arjun Vajpayee from Noida, who's still at the base camp, sent us this story. He says that there was a fresh avalanche, but no one was injured.
Hello guys, this is Arjun Vajpayee from Makalu ABC Live. I'm going to try and keep you guys updated about the situation here in this valley. We did feel a couple of tremors last night here, but no serious damages have been done. I would like to confirm that there are 0 casualties as of now in the Makalu Valley, and we're really happy about it. We're going to still decide by the 30th of this month that whether we continue with our mission of climbing the world's 5th highest mountain or not. So we're going to stay put. We are stocked up on rations. Here, we know that the situation in Kathmandu is not so good, so we're going to stay here. We're safe here, and I will try and keep you guys updated. A couple of climbers are still in shock from the tremors which we felt yesterday and day before yesterday, but I think things seem to be getting better here. Keep following.
Hundreds, thousands still in shock. In fact, chilling videos coming from Mount Everest as well. Here's one more from a mountaineer who shot this at the base camp. Josh Kabush sending this video.
The ground is shaking.
What about if the ground opens up?
Shut. Whoa! Whoa! No! Come under my jacket. Come under my jacket. Are you okay? Yeah. Yeah.
Chilling video that and evacuation of tourists from Kathmandu continues to be a challenge, along with relief and rescue within the city and around. Anubha, what is the Indian Air Force doing?
Karma, the Indian Air Force operations starting tomorrow are going to be augmented a lot because the Pokhran airstrip will be totally functional. The Mi-17 have landed there, and so the short sorties can take place. Kathmandu will remain the base. I think one important part of this operation that we need to understand, very different from the operations that the security forces have taken in Uttarakhand and in Kashmir, is that they are operating on what is a foreign country. They are here in aid of the Nepal army and therefore the Nepalese state, so to speak. So sensitivities have to be taken into consideration. Plus, the security forces need to do a very fine balancing act between rescuing their own people and making sure what is needed for the locals here in this particular country is also taken care of.
Right, and of course there is congestion at the airport. That is the added problem there. And patience running low at the airport, isn't it? Where lots of people are waiting to be evacuated from here. We've been getting calls, SMSs.
Yeah, precisely, and especially for the Indian community. Remember, Indian community is the largest international community actually in Nepal, and they have huge business interests here as well. When we visited the airport today, more than 10,000 people were standing in the queue. So that's a huge number. That is more than any other country actually, most of the countries put together. And many of them told that they have been waiting there for last 48 hours to be evacuated either by air or by road by the government of India. This is the third day since massive earthquake hit Kathmandu, and we are at the departure terminal of Tribhuvan International Airport here in Kathmandu, and you can see a long queue of Indians here. Since the time this massive earthquake hit Nepal, the Indian Embassy here in Kathmandu has been carrying out massive rescue operation. The Air Force planes, the commercial planes, they are all ferrying Indians out of Nepal back to their destinations, back to Delhi and Calcutta, and from where they will go back to their home. So you can see this long queue of Indians. This is a free ferry which has been organized by the government of India through the Indian Embassy here in Kathmandu, and these Indians will be taken back to their respective homes, back to Delhi and Calcutta. There are two destinations which Indian Embassy as of now is connecting to Kathmandu. People are being taken to either Delhi and Calcutta, and from there on their own they will go back to their respective homes. So this is a long queue you can see at the departure terminal of Tribhuvan International Airport.
अंकल जल्दी कर दीजिए ना, हम लोग परसों से वेट कर रहे हैं।
कहाँ है पापा मम्मी? कहाँ है तुम्हारे?
पापा मम्मी आते हैं, मेरी नानी माँ खड़ी है, चक्कर आ रहा है। पापा मम्मी को कुछ खाया नहीं, और हम लोग ने परसों से कुछ भी नहीं खाया है। रोने आ रहे हैं, छोटे बच्चे को दूध नहीं मिल रहा है। ये रहे इसकी मम्मी पापा, ये देखिए इसके बड़े पापा के बड़ी माँ को भी भेज दीजिए, नाना नानी को और मेरे को भेज दीजिए। नाना जी तो आगे चले गए।
Tell me, what is this queue about? I mean, why are you sending this queue here?
फॉर द डिपार्चर इंडिया जाने के लिए।
क्या है ये क्यों? क्या ये फ्री?
हाँ, फ्री टिकट में।
क्या बताइए, पूरा बताइए।
अभी कुछ आइडिया नहीं है, अभी आगे जाके पता चलेगा। पापा लोग गए पता कर लगाने।
This is all about rescue flight going to Delhi and Calcutta.
So you can see a long queue here. Around more than 10,000 people are still here waiting for their turn to come, and this entire rescue operation is being coordinated by the Indian Embassy here in Kathmandu. We have been told around 4,000 people have already been ferried back to their homes, and this queue seems to be a never-ending queue. This queue seems to be getting longer and longer, and people are all coming to the Tribhuvan International Airport here in Canada, here in Kathmandu actually, to go back to their respective homes. From Kathmandu, Prabhakar Kumar.
And the skies are clear tonight. Clear skies will be crucial to evacuation, rescue, relief efforts. Our focus on the aftermath of the earthquake in Nepal continues here on CNN IBN. Stay with us.